All right, welcome back to my workshop. Thank you for coming, and I wanted to show you this new arrival. So we got a DuroMax XP13000EH power generator. Runs on gasoline or propane. Those are the specs with gasoline. Peak wattage is that at any given moment as load is added, whether you add equipment or lights, it would, if you go over 13,000 watts, it's basically going to shut down. You don't want to run too close to that constantly. What you want to do is get around that 10,500 on the gasoline max, and then on the propane it's like 9,500 or something. I'll have to look that up. We'll check that out later. Wanted to do an unboxing and then just kind of explain how we're going to get this thing tested out. All right, so we'll just take a look at what's in here first. So all I've done so far is just kind of open it up this far just to see if it was in good shape. Looked like they took care of it. User manual and etc. Looks like a little probably easy startup some sort. So I'll check that out tonight, and don't want to mess this thing up. And as you can see, it's an 8.3 gallon tank, and it's supposed to be able to run up to 8 hours. That's probably on the idle control if you don't have a lot of load on it. So let's see what else we got here. Handwritten EH, that's funny. It's kind of cool. As they're kitting up and producing this and packing it up, this is probably what they did to make sure that it's got the right kit inside of it. Interesting. So here's our wheels. They're solid. They look pneumatic, but they're solid, but those things aren't gonna wear out. Heavy duty. High-tech oil funnel. I actually, because that's in good shape, I will probably use that. I have recommended 10W30, I believe. I have some. Connectors, that's what I'm talking about. Our existing cable appears to be a 4-prong twist lock. I'm going to go take a picture of it in a little bit, and that'll be part of preparing for the startup. Seeing if our connector is the same spec, and if it is, I won't have to use this. Keep these on hand in case I want to make a new cable, or extend a cable, make a new one that goes even further into the workshop or something. So it comes with two of these 120s, 3-prong 30 amp, 4-prong 30 amp. So that's good. You have to supply your own 50 amp, looks like, but we don't have that service. Our breaker box is set up for 30, our generator box. So nice to have those. Got handles. Actually a pretty good weld. Usually spot welded to make them as cheap as possible. Appreciate that. There are 2 handles. Like axles, hardware for the feet and the wheels. That's a nice thick gauge. Nice hard rubber. So so far. Really happy with the quality of just the accessories. The propane regulator. Nice, a little over 4 feet there. That's pretty cool. 5-footer. Okay, that's good. Plenty of options where to put the tank while you're running. All right, there's a little maintenance kit. Plug. Oh, that's probably for nuts. This is probably spark plug. The T-handle goes in there, and a screwdriver. Nice. Alright, so let's start with the left panel. This is the carbon monoxide detector, and what will happen is this will indicate yellow if there's an error, something's wrong with the system. That says you pretty much have to call DuroMax and just kind of, they'll walk you through some troubleshooting, or hopefully that'll never happen. And then carbon monoxide detected, that will be flashing or shining red. The engine will cut, and you can't restart it for 5 minutes. So this thing has a little bit of logic into it, which is nice. So I plan on having this in a workshop, but it's going to have an actual 12-inch exhaust fan. So I shouldn't have any errors, but we'll test that out at some point, and as long as this will run for an hour without having that indicator, I would say that the conditions are going to be safe in there. I would not be in there when this was running anyway, so I'm not worried about me or my family, because we'll basically lock the door while this is running so no one can go in there and get all dead. So there you go. This is where you're going to hook up your propane. It's a nice little 3rd-degree flare, -6 or something there. This is the fuel control, shut, and then for storage, turn it this way for gasoline fuel, and then propane fuel that way. And then we'll go over to this side. All right, so on this side we have the push start button, a couple of breakers, AC breakers. This is the battery switch. This is basically power to the start button. When that's off, that way if somebody bumps this, it won't start. Charging, that is either generating from the motor, or there's might be a battery in here for this circuit as a backup. Not sure. I'll look into that. Idle control, if you have this on to the on position, when there's no load and you're using things intermittently, like you're using a power tool here and there, a compressor, etc., it will bring the idle down, lower RPMs to save energy and your fuel, and then it'll kind of turn back on when there's those small loads come back. If this is being used for like a house backup, you'd want to probably keep that in the off position, because there's going to constantly be load from the appliances. The lights aren't that big of a deal, but if you have the refrigerator running, freezer, internet, TV and stuff like that, there's gonna be a constant load on this thing. So that's what that's for. This is the main breaker. This will either open or close the circuit down to your power outlets. Here's a 3-pronged 30 amp AC 120. This is a GFCI 120, so you can plug things right into this, and they are ground fault circuit interrupted, so they're safe in case you get wet. This is the 4-pronged 30 amp 120 240. This is the one, since it has 4 conductors, get a little more current out of this one, so I'm going to use this one to connect to my panel. And then this is a 50 amp 240 volt connector outlet, and then 12 volt 8 amp, and that would be if you needed a direct current, anything that would run off like a a car battery outlet or a boat accessory or anything like that. And then there is a ground here, ground lug. So we're going to be using this for a house power backup, but at the same time we could use this for anything we needed power for remotely for some reason. People use this for boating, RV. It could run a shack out in the middle of the woods with your van down by the river or something. And then again, this is we wanted at least a dual fuel. Tri-fuel would have been nice, but we don't have the gas lines from the city for natural gas yet, so we decided that'll be a big expense. We have basically the connection to the house, but it'll cost thousands of dollars to get some lines run, and we're not ready for that yet. Maybe we'll have the money to get a tri-fuel at that point. Then you have almost an endless loop of fuel. You just come out and check the generator, make sure it's running, give it a rest once in a while, if you need to, but that would be kind of the ideal state. Next step down is this will give us a good comfort level of having propane. We're going to have a total of, right now, 3 20-pound tanks, and that'll run for quite a bit. And then I'm going to have about 7.5 gallons worth of gasoline around. So if we get snowed in for a few days, I think we'll be okay. But I think sometime between now and our first storm, I'm going to get at least 1, maybe 2 more propane tanks. And that's just an emergency. I don't want to be, here and my family have no water, no electricity, and we're just kind of done for. And it's my job to keep an eye on this family, help protect them, and provide for them as much as I can. And this is just one more thing in that direction. So, take you for a quick walk around here. This is the fuel tank, obviously. But then in the manual, it gives you kind of a list on some typical running watts and then your additional surge watts that'll happen as you're operating this equipment. Part of how I'm going to test this out is between now and the weekend, look at the loads that my heat pump and air handler draw, so I can make sure I can run that once in a while in case we're really cold or really hot. We can basically turn everything off, let that run and get the house comfortable, and then turn that off and get back to our days of our lives. So this is a beefy 500cc engine. So if this thing wears out at some point and I'm still alive, I think what I'm going to do is make a killer go-kart out of this engine. You got overhead valve action. That muffler is screaming for custom setup. I'm gonna need to get a little, some parts and have somebody weld up a cool little exhaust for me. That would be cool. But yeah, we'll go through this in more detail as I start setting it up, and then we'll do a propane test run. I don't want to put gasoline in this yet. I think if we're a couple weeks out from a possible large storm, I will test the gasoline. I want to make sure that works. That way, if it for some reason my gasoline is not flowing through something, I can use propane until we get on the other side of the storm. But I'm not anticipating any issues. CO2 makes sure like that. So don't, it's carbon monoxide. So that's it for now. Does have fuel level for the gasoline. That's kind of nice instead of guessing. There's where the juice happens. That's a generator. Battery in there. So next video, what I'll do is this weekend, I'll set it up, test it out with propane. So thank you for stopping by, and I will see you soon.